welcome to Inside Gooners, bringing you all the latest news and reaction with regards to the mighty Arsenal. Job done at the Emirates, and we're into the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the third season in a row. And joining me to recap it all and look ahead to the long-awaited Carabao Cup final on Sunday, it's Perry Groves and CJ, also known as Deluded Gooner. I'm delighted to say this show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. How are we doing, guys? Perry, how you doing? CJ, how you doing?
Yeah,
Great, man.
Yeah, I'm all right, nice and chilled. Yeah, it's all right.
Pretty good time to be an Arsenal fan at the moment, isn't it?
What, boring Arsenal?
Boring
Arsenal. Boring Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love how much it is winding everybody else up that we're in this position, that we could win multiple trophies. I know we haven't done it yet, but sometimes you have to just take a step back, don't you? CJ, I'll come to you first and just lap it all up. It's
you just
brilliant.
have to lap it all up, man. I think, like our football club and like us three here and everyone else, we're just focused on handling business. We're just trying to win trophies, taking every game as it comes. And it feels like people that externally are not involved with Arsenal are going, you can't win the quadruple, you can't do this, you're anti-football, you're this, that and the third. And like you said, to see them losing their tops, it's almost as great as if when we actually get a trophy over the line. So long may it continue. I want this to be for forever, really, Harry and Perry, man.
Perry, do you think people are starting to change their tune around Arsenal now? Like with the realisation that this has the potential to be a massive season for Arsenal. Do you think some of our biggest critics over the course of the season are going to start to change their tune now?
Do you know what? I think all it's going to do is going to be resentment's going to set in. Because I've said to all the Arsenal fans, take great pride in the headspace we're taking up of some parts of the media, of the neutrals, the other big clubs. We're in their headspace. So we've got that negativity. They're not in our headspace. Do you know what I mean? We're not worried about them. We just worried about what we're trying to do. And it's quieting down a little bit. We've obviously had set piece at FC. We've had time waste at FC. We've had boring bonus, whatever. And the beauty of it is that the goals, which you talk about obviously from last night, and obviously Max Dowman coming on scorer, then they can't say we don't score goals from free play. You know what I mean? We can score goals everywhere. And Saturday was massive because I think that positivity helped us last night. It's going to help us going into Sunday. And we've got a month break, in Premier League games. Whereas if we had drawn on Saturday or the result would have gone against us, I think negativity would sort of started creeping in. But because of that, and we saw with the players last night, that it just freed them up a little bit. And all we're doing as Goonies is, I keep saying to people, I've just ticked another one off. That's all it is. I'm not looking forward, apart from the international break, because I don't know players getting injured, but I'm just ticking games off, just crossing them off, crossing them off, that one cross off, and then we see where we are. So we can enjoy this 3 or 4 days before the weekend that we're in a really good space, and then you start getting nervous probably around about like Saturday night, didn't you, about 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Then it starts going into you.
Yeah, then you start to feel it in your gut, don't you? CJ, let's look at the game last night, victory over Bayer Leverkusen. It was a draw in the first leg, so there was plenty at stake last night. It wasn't a case of just seeing the job through. Arsenal had plenty of work to do. One of the things Perry said there was about the atmosphere being different and Arsenal playing with a bit of a freedom as a result of what happened at the weekend. Did you feel that difference? Did you feel like that was vital in what we saw from Arsenal last night?
I'll make you and Perry right, man. I mean, we need the fans. We're at this point of the season where, of course, tactics and players and everything Arteta does or doesn't do is going to make the difference. But it is just about getting the job done. And any extra yards you can get is obviously going to help. So it's not. I like to see the atmosphere. And I know we're talking about yesterday against Leverkusen. Mikel Arteta came out and we know he can be animated on the touchline, nowhere near as much as they state. But he said he was deliberately kind of doing that against Everton to get the fans up. And that's one thing I liked when Arteta walked in. He made a big song and dance when he became our manager about the atmosphere. And you see little things like the tunnel being removed, and we needed that. In relation to the game, I think we handled business. I do think it's weird because I do think Leverkusen, they kind of played a fluid system. They did have a lot of runners. Me and Perry were talking off air about it, and there was a lot of things to be wary of, but I just think it was a professional performance. It was a much better performance than the first leg. We just handled business. They can't say it was the old Arsenal where we looked nervous and things. Every player, from David Raya to Gyökeres, who arguably had one of his best games in an Arsenal shirt, just handled business. Of course, Rice scored a great goal and Eze wasn't too bad either. So, all in all, great performance, man. And if that's boring, let it be boring. I'm sure you saw the other British teams. I don't want to entertain like them, lads.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Perry, on Eze, let's talk about that goal first, because, I mean, it was a stunning goal. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know what you think. I look at him now and think he's arrived. He feels like he fits into the system that bit better. He feels like he's more connected with the players around him. Are we now starting to see why Arsenal went out on a limb to bring this player in?
Do you know what? We talked about headspace, and what now he's not overthinking stuff because there's a lot of information. We talked about it as well, with Declan Rice at the beginning of the season, where he sat down with Arteta, and Arteta said, "I'm not getting from you what I want." And then they had a conversation, and Declan went on to a different level. There's a lot of information you take in on the ball, without the ball. Do you know what I mean? And getting structured. Whereas Crystal Palace, he was the best player in the playground. He didn't really have to do defensive stuff. With us, he does. But playing as the actual 10, he then goes, when we go into the 4-4-2, he goes alongside Gyökeres. So a lot of his defensive work is actually closing down, going forward, rather than if he's wider, where you're running back like bigger distances. But when you see Eze and he starts flicking it around the corner when it's come to him first time, he's nutmegging people, then you're going, you're in your own headspace here. And he played free. And the goal, I mean, it's not an assist from Trossard. Do you know what I mean? No. And same as Martinelli's own assist for Max Dalman's on Saturday. But when it comes into him, he made the first touch look really easy. Because when it comes into him, he takes it on the half turn and he takes it with his left foot. And the left foot touch sits up. And he knows what he's going to do before he's taken his touch. In his head, he's thinking, I'm going to take my touch, I'm going to make it sit up, then I'm going to smash the volley. And you was there, and it was one of them ones where when it goes in, it's a whoa. And the fans are trying to compute in their heads, have I just seen what I think I've seen? And then you see the replay, and then there's another massive... It's like the Ozil, remember the Ozil bump goal?
Yeah.
You go, have I just seen that? And then you see the replay, and I thought when they panned, obviously to Eze, like he says, he celebrates like, that's what I do it all the time.
It's normal.
It's Saliba's face.
Yeah.
Saliba's face behind him with his hands on his head going, oh my God, have I just seen that? And what it is, it's doing in training's great, but it's big moments. And we played really well. It was 0-0. Blažević, their goalkeeper, was making like decent saves. And you think it's going to take something special. We've had like 3 wow moments in the last, because Declan Rice, we'll talk about that was a wow moment. So as Arsenal fans, we've got to embrace this and think, right, we've got everybody with set pieces. Well, we're very professional. You know, we do what we can. We've got a bit of how as we go. And all of a sudden, you go bash. And then we're playing with flair and imagination. And that's the next step. And I think the result on Saturday freed everybody up. Because against Leverkusen away, especially in the second half, we looked a little bit leggy. We weren't closing down with the dynamism we normally do. But last night, we looked like we got that back. We got our closing down back. We got that little bit of energy back, you know. So at the minute, you know, without getting too carried away, there isn't anything but positivity, which is brilliant at this stage of the season.
And special moments, they can lift everybody, can't they, CJ? Not just the players on the pitch, but the fans as well. And that then obviously has an impact on the atmosphere. And I'd been saying all season, actually, that I didn't feel we'd had enough of those Everton-like moments. I know we're discussing Leverkusen now, but those 2 games are interlinked for me. And I think it's important that we make that connection. You look at something like what Eze done, you look at what Rice done, you look at that Max Dalman moment. These are the kind of things that you need to do or you need to see to just generate that extra level of belief.
As well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it feels like, and I know people have been saying all season, that we're boring, that we're slow, that we don't play in the way that we should. I've got a little theory that I want to throw out to you.
Here we go.
It's
Let's
a little
go,
theory.
man.
I'm not saying that we've deliberately played badly in games. I'm not saying that. But I do genuinely think that this team, having gone almost the distance in recent years, understands the value of pacing itself and understands that when you get to this point in the season, this is when you need to put your foot on the gas. So I'm not for a second saying that at various points this season we've deliberately played badly, but there have been games where we could have put our foot on the accelerator, didn't feel that we needed to because we've got that defensive solidity and maybe therefore went into cruise control. Is there something in that or am I just making something
There is, but for me, I'll probably put it more down to psychological factors. Of course, it's all about tactics. I mean, everyone remembers when Arteta said, like, let's enjoy this part of the season. I think that's what the lads are going out there for, you know. I know it's cliche, there's evidently a hierarchy, but everybody's in that squad to contribute. You mentioned the young Max Dalman. Obviously, that's a great moment both in his life and obviously if we get over the line. Our attacking players are now standing up to be counted. You know, Rice is in with a goal. Gyökeres had a great performance in general, but it's chipped in. And obviously, obviously that's what we want from Eze. We've seen moments, but he had his moments in the last 2 games, but he's been more of a constant threat throughout 90 minutes. I know we haven't won the league, but we know we've got a title-winning defence, but goals win games, and I'm all for it. We've got different protagonists, we've got different players that are standing up to be counted. I know at some point we're going to speak about Bukayo, but in previous years, if Saka weren't necessarily doing the business, we'd be in a whole load of trouble. He's not playing badly. Yesterday was a step in the right direction. Obviously want to see more, but other players are stepping up to be counted. For me, it's just psychological. We look more free. We look like, OK, we've had some good moments, we've had some bad moments. This is now the period where we just need to handle business, and we've done that in the Prem. Obviously, we've got the Southampton game to come up after the international break. Got a big game on Sunday. So let's just keep moving, man. I think the players just look free right now at the moment, H, man.
Perry, you've won titles. Is there something in that? Is it psychological? Is it physical? Is it a bit of both?
I actually think this group of players and Arteta, because we forget that Arteta was a young manager when he first came. Like, obviously, he's been here like 6 years now, so he's learning as well. I think there's a little bit of idealism that goes with football sometimes, you know, like, where you want to play the beautiful game and expansive. I think this group of players and Arteta and the coaching staff thought, we don't care. We don't care how we play. We're not bothered. And they've learned how to squeeze the life out of games. They've learned how to get through games when they're not playing particularly well, grind it out. Whereas we couldn't do that 18 months ago. You know, if we weren't free-flowing and at our best, Arsenal fans look at it and think we could draw or get beat here. Where now, I think the confidence comes from, even if we're not playing well, we'll find a way to get through the game. Like even Leverkusen away, didn't play particularly well. Then people said it wasn't a penalty, but I think it was, like with Tillman just catching Maddox.
Contact.
We find a way to draw the game. And the same with on Saturday. When you look back in the season, and there's still a lot of work to do to win the Premier League, but I'm hoping that's a moment where you look back and you say, that's where it started to change on the way that we free ourselves up. You know, and you can't emphasise enough, with Max Dowman, at 16, he has no fear. He's coming on to games, and what happened on Saturday when it was a little bit sticky and it, like 0-0 a little bit, he comes on. It's not just the belief he's got. The whole crowd, the whole fans' energy goes up. Even players, senior players, and they see him do stuff. They get confidence from seeing they've got this young kid coming on who doesn't give a rat's backside about anything, and he plays free, and then he scored, and then it's like, wow. Then you start believing, actually, perhaps it's all like aligned at the right times. Because if you forget, Max Dowman was injured for like 2.5 months, plays half a game for the under-21s, is the best player against Mansfield on a like course of the year show like pitch, and he comes and has that. So it's the positive, but people have got to remember, which Arsenal fans will, is it's the grinding it out. The Premier League is it's the toughest league in the world. You've got even like
Pep
Wolves
and
are
Van Dijk
playing well.
said that.
Exactly, you know. So we're grinding it out, and the great thing is, as I say, there's journalists out there and other fans are thinking, what else? What can we do now? What can we throw at Arsenal now? But the reason I think we played really well last night is Leverkusen came to play. They actually split the three centre halves. They were playing through the lines. Palacios and Garcia, Grimaldo was like running. And because they were more expansive, who'd have thought it? That gives our flair players more space to express themselves in. And that's what we were brilliant in. They call it's counter-attacking. They call it transition. We were brilliant counter-attacking because they committed players forward, and all of a sudden we were committing players forward, and we had that. Trossard was coming in, he was like drifting, Eze was doing his little bits. So the opposition just does have a big way of the way you play. We haven't just got one way of playing. Do you know what I mean? We can mix it up, which is, like as I said, is all good, all positive.
And we're always talking about like the system and how we set up and the way that we've made ourselves difficult to beat, and so that in those games that you've described, Perry, when people come and sit back, we can still be competitive and find a way. But CJ, it feels like we've got so many more big game players now. Declan Rice has scored big goals over the last 2 years. Eze's doing it. Gabriel can do it from the back. You've seen even Timber and Zubimendi, who you wouldn't look at as goal-scoring players, sort of contribute in that sense as well. we've got that right through the team now, haven't we?
We've got that right through the team, man. You know, Declan Rice, since signing for us, he was world-class at West Ham, generally known as a kind of six. He's taken that and added goals and everything else to his game. Zubimendi's has his best goal-scoring season. You know, our wide men typically for the last 4 years have been our source of goals. Not really quite doing it now. I know Trossard had his thing. But yeah, like, we've got goals all around the side, and I don't need to bore you two with what our set pieces do. You need to have different solutions and different ways of playing. Perry said it there. It's kind of like what the opposition does is going to dictate what we do. There's got to be a correlation with... In the Champions League, apologies, we've been very entertaining. The game at Leverkusen, they kind of sat back. They kind of made it like a Premier League game. Ergo, there's no space. Obviously, don't get it twisted, we weren't kind of playing well. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, kind of coming to the Emirates to play. As Perry said, who would have thought, you know, boring, anti-Arsenal, third for, I think, goals from open play in the Premier League, up there for goals in whole totality, 100 plus, play against one of the lowest blocks in the week in, week out, got one of the highest lines in the Premier League. You play against us, you're going to be in trouble, but we're the boring ones. Arteta is big on dictating what the opposition's going to do with what we do off it. So come out and play, you'll be entertained watching us every week, man. And we're just going to keep winning.
Absolutely.
Winning's not boring.
Yeah,
No,
winning's definitely not boring.
Exactly. Boring.
Amazing stuff.
It's not boring for us. And it annoys me when I hear people say that. Oh, how do you enjoy watching this? We're winning every week, mate.
Hey,
I absolutely
just
love
have
it.
a lot. Don't let it annoy you.
No, you're right.
Just have a little chuckle.
And I've had to make peace with this in the last couple of weeks. I've learnt to just
let it go.
Because they know they're talking nonsense.
They call it handing it over. Just hand it over, Ray. Just hand it over,
Literally.
and it's all right.
I do want to focus a little bit more on Eberechi Eze. I know we've touched on him already, but he's produced some big moments this season. The derby, the goal last night, and there's been various others as well. He's actually the second English player to score for Arsenal in the Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, and Champions League, all in the same season. Last player to do that for Arsenal. Can you tell me who it is? Wild guess.
I was going to say Henri, but he didn't play many League Cup games.
It's English player. Sorry, I should have specified
English.
that.
Right, okay.
Theo Walcott.
Wow.
If you gave me some time, I was going to get there. I was going to say Oxlade, to be fair.
I didn't want that awkward silence when everyone was getting it for a bit. But I mean, let's talk about sort of the way that I think Arsenal platformed him of late in a much better way. We've seen a difference, haven't we, Perry, in the way that Rice and Zubimendi are working in order to platform him. It feels like there are two now, rather than it being one of them at the base with the other one going and getting involved in the attack.
Yeah, well, it's more like a 4-2-3-1, say, and he'd take confidence with that as well. You know what I mean? With Arteta going. Again, sometimes, obviously, we want Odegaard back fit and flying, but with Odegaard not being available, you know, maybe Odegaard might have gone in the 10. Do you know what I mean? With those two sitting a bit deeper. So Arteta going, I trust you. And he has freed him up, and he's, I think, historically, he comes onto a different level, doesn't he, between March and May. His performance levels improve, even like with Crystal Palace. The thing that I want to see us do is, which we did last night, is Zubimendi looked like he had his half a yard back where he was like intercepting and nicking things and getting turned and like passing it. When we're on attack, I want to see Declan Rice just freed up a little bit more, whereas like the 2 games before, they did play basically as the 2. Do you know what I mean? So we need to commit more players into the 18-yard box, and that's why Declan got his goal, because then he was the one on the front foot where it comes out, I think it's Calbraith, and gets in front of him and then just thinks, I'm just going to keep going and like bending it in from like the edge of the D. So it's a change in formation, a change in the way they go about implementing that formation. But the other thing that I really liked, not Saka as much, but on the left-hand side, Trossard had a bit of freedom to come in and make the overload. And we've got to mention Ben White as well, because Saka had a better game last night. He's got a good understanding with Timber, but he's got a really good understanding of Ben White. And Ben White was obviously making overlaps. He was going in the inverted,
they know each other's
right
game.
position. Exactly. So Ben White was a real big plus last night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Declan Rice's goal. I don't feel we've given that enough praise on the show
But
so
you're used
far.
to it.
Yeah, he's just at that level, isn't he? Was you a little bit worried, though, CJ, about